gotta talk about Mo Salah, right? This is a guy that's been linked with the move to Saudi since last summer. Now, we all know that Jürgen Klopp dropped that bomb a few weeks ago, and he's announced that he's leaving at the end of the season. Now, Liverpool squad, I think, will be shaken up. I think a lot of those guys that you've seen there for the better part of 5 to 6 years are going to look to leave. I definitely expect Salah to find a new club in the summer. I don't think he'll be there. Eras come to an end, and Liverpool fans, your good spell right now is ending after this season. I think it's going to be real tough for them to keep up with the success that Klopp has brought them over these last 8.5, 9 years. And I think they should be wanting to sell Mo Salah because if you have Al Ittihad, and I know that Salah is also being linked to Al Hilal as well, we'll touch on them. But if you have these Saudi clubs coming in offering $200 million for Mohamed Salah at 31 years old, a player who I believe is declining, you have to take that. Use that money and rebuild. But fans are just so emotional that they get attached to these players. I remember when Barcelona first bought Coutinho. These fans were pissed. They were mad. They didn't want him sold. And look at that. You guys sold Coutinho and then went on to have your best spell in recent memory, right? Like, you have to start reinvesting into the squad, especially when you have an ownership group like FSG who don't really like to spend money. Yeah, you should take $200 million for Mo Salah. Let him go to Saudi. I think he'd want to go as well. I saw a report that they're going to be offering him wages of $1.5 million a week. That's damn near $100 million a season. And I think Mo Salah in Saudi, he would be the biggest star there. We know that Ronaldo's playing over there, right? And obviously, Mo Salah does not have the fandom or the legacy that CR7 has. But let's not get it confused. Mo Salah is Muslim, and yes, he's African, but we know that Egyptians, they're more so considered Middle Eastern just because of like the looks and the language and, just they more align with the Middle East. He would be the number one poster boy in Saudi. I think he goes. There's nothing else for him to do at Liverpool. He's 31 years old. His abilities are starting to decline, right? He's still a very good player. He still is one of the best wingers in the world right now, but he's not what he was a few seasons ago. What else is there to do? What else does he have to prove at Liverpool? He's won a Prem. He's won Champions League. I think he won a Club World Cup, right? He also won, I think, an FA Cup. He is a legend. He will go down as somebody that people will put in one of the best wingers in the Premier League history conversation. So, yeah, it's about time for him to go over to Saudi. And I think it's about time for Liverpool to look to cash in on him and rebuild. And I don't believe that Salah will be the only big name player that looks to leave. I think Van Dijk might be gone. I think Alisson might leave. Maybe Fabinho. I think maybe even Trent, people, because his contract runs out at the end of next year. Why didn't he sign a new deal yet? You don't think Liverpool have offered him an extension yet? I think a lot of these players are going to be waiting around to see what the hell happens with Klopp. Who is the manager that we will bring in? Now, I know that they're linked to Xabi Alonso, and that's a possibility, but I don't see it happening. I think Liverpool's manager next season will be De Zerbi or a Graham Potter because I think Alonso's going to go to Bayern Munich. And the only reason that I'm not going to say Real Madrid is because we just extended Carlo Ancelotti for 1 year. But yeah, Mo Salah to Al Ittihad. Maybe he teams up with Benzema. I know that the reports coming out of Saudi about Benzema right now is not that good. So maybe they're looking at Salah as a Benzema replacement. Maybe they do let him come back to Europe in the summer. Or maybe they bring in Mo Salah to try to convince Benzema to stay. Be like, hey, look, you get to play with Mo Salah. I mean, look, they would tear up that league. But who knows? I also saw a link with him and Al Hilal. Now, Salah and Neymar in the same front attack? Oh my goodness, that would be a madness. Yo, those farmers would not know what's coming at them most nights. But yeah, I definitely do think he will leave. And I think it will be to Saudi. He's going to cash in for sure. And Liverpool need to get that bread, reinvest that into the squad, and try to stay afloat. Because to me, their cycle is over. You guys were in your good spell for the last decade. But as they always say, good things must come to an end. And I think it's just going to happen now. I don't really think it matters who replaces Klopp after he leaves. Generally speaking, right? Because Klopp is arguably Liverpool's best ever manager. When you have to follow up the guy, right? Like, you don't want to be the guy after the legendary manager leaves. because the pressure is so much. Everybody's going to compare you to Klopp. They're going to see what you're doing, and they're going to see how Klopp would have done it. And if you're not winning, and if you're not necessarily getting the results right away, trophies, etc., the fans are going to turn on you. It's going to be a lot of pressure. So no, the next manager that comes in for Liverpool, I don't believe is going to succeed. Unless you're telling me, because to me, Klopp is a top 3 manager in the world. I think it's Pep, Carlo, Klopp. So any manager that you get is going to be a downgrade because you're not going to get Pep and you're not going to get Carlo. So yeah, it's going to be a very hard job for him to do. But yeah, for sure, Liverpool should be looking to cash in on Mo Salah. I think it's time. This is a guy, as I said, he's a legend. He's won everything that there is to win with Liverpool and nothing else to prove. I think you have to cash in, reinvest into that squad. I think Liverpool are going to end up struggling though for a little bit. I think like the next 2 to 3 seasons, you're going to see them go back to what they were doing before Klopp came in. I think they're going to be around 6th, 7th, 5th, 4th, but I don't see them winning another Prem in the near future. I don't see them winning another Champions League in the near future, but they'll still be a competitive team. But yeah, once some of these guys leave and once there's like a little clear out, for sure, I think, yeah, they're going to struggle. But we'll see. I don't know. But Mo Salah will leave. I thought he would leave even if Klopp is there, but yeah, I think a lot of these players, they're sitting around and they're going to be wondering, what the hell is happening? Who are they going to bring in? What system are we going to run? Who knows? I mean, you guys saw the other week, Virgil van Dijk came out. He was basically like, yeah, I can't tell you if I'm going to be here. I mean, he was getting so much backlash for saying that he had to come out into the press and release a statement saying, no, I am focused on Liverpool and the future here and everything. But we know that that's cap. Come on now. And just don't forget, people, do not get attached to these players. They are doing their job. That's it. It's not like they're just mercenaries. No, this is their job. When you go to your job and when it's time for you to negotiate a pay raise, do you say, nah, I don't want as much money because I'm working here for passion? No. Most of the guys that play for our favorite clubs are 9 out of 10 times, they're not fans. They're only here because they're getting a paycheck. And that's okay. So yeah, I think Salah, he has every right to go cash in. And I think Liverpool would be smart to get that huge investment and then put it back into the team because you know FSG is not going to want to spend that much money. And that's another reason why I think that Liverpool are going to fall off because their ownership, they don't spend money. Like all their players that they have right now that are world class, at the time that they bought them, were not. Klopp has made all of these guys world class. He's put all of them in conversations that they were not in before joining Liverpool. I think outside of Alisson and Van Dijk, they're 2 big money signings. Everybody else, like Trent from the academy, Andy Robertson was not world class. Mo Salah was not world class. Sadio Mane, when he first came in, was not world class. Come on now. If it was not for Klopp, a lot of these guys would just be considered good players, but they wouldn't have reached the level that they have right now. So Klopp has worked miracles at that club. And I'm telling you guys, man, Liverpool, I feel bad for you because it's going to be a tough road ahead. But I think the rebuild can start by selling Mo Salah. What are you going to keep him for? You're not going to win the Prem if he stays next year anyways. Cash in, buy some nice young talent that has a lot of promise that could potentially develop into world-class players. And FSG, you guys got to spend more money. Like, there's no reason that Liverpool's overall squad should be looking the same like what it did a few seasons ago. It's like all the same main players, really. They don't really have any bench depth. It's nothing there. And I think that's why Klopp is leaving, because he's realized that with FSG, he can't compete anymore. But yeah, Mo Salah to Saudi would be a very good deal. Al Ittihad, Al Hilal, it don't matter. I think Al Hilal are the biggest club there. So maybe that's one to keep an eye out for. But Al Ittihad wouldn't be a bad move either, especially if they're able to keep Benzema. That'd probably be one of the best attacks in the world. So we'll see. But, yo, the Saudi League, they're moving mad. I don't get how people think that the MLS, because I know everybody loves Messi, but I don't get how they're actually trying to convince us that the MLS is a dead league, is a good league, and that the Saudi League is a farmer and Campbell's league. Bro, the Saudi League is a much more competitive one than MLS. Look at all these teams spending big money to sign all these big name players. The MLS is not doing that shit. The MLS, every team helped Miami get Messi. What? That's like if every team in La Liga was helping Real Madrid sign Mbappe. That makes no sense. The Saudi league is not as bad as everybody wants to make it seem. Mo Salah would not have any trouble fitting in there. It's literally his culture. Yeah, the move just makes too much sense to me. And Liverpool fans hate to be the ones to break it to you. But yeah, let me know. Do you think Salah should leave or do you think Salah should stay?